So you've poured everything into your new song. You release it, you promote it like crazy for a week, and then it just kind of vanishes, right? If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down a strategy that turns that 1 week sprint into a months-long marathon for your music. It's a feeling pretty much every artist knows. You get that initial rush of streams, your phone is buzzing with notifications, and then, poof, it's like your song just falls off a cliff. But what if I told you the problem isn't your music, it's your release plan? And this really lays it all out. On the left, that's the standard release. It's one big burst of activity and then a really steep drop-off. You get one shot, that's it. But on the right, the waterfall release, well, that's a whole different ballgame. It's all about sustained engagement, constantly poking the algorithms and giving people tons of different ways to find your music. All right, so let's really dig into the problem that we're all trying to solve here. The 1 week song lifespan. Here's what that typical life cycle looks like. Week 1, that's your big promotional push. For the next couple of weeks, the platform's algorithm is kind of testing the waters, trying to figure out who to show your track to. But here's the kicker. If you don't send it any new signals by week 4, no new activity, no fresh listeners, the algorithm just assumes the song's had its moment, and your momentum completely dies. But what if you could keep sending those new signals? What if you could keep telling the algorithm, hey, people still love this? Well, that is the core idea behind the Waterfall Method, a strategy designed to give your song the long life it really deserves. The Waterfall Method is actually pretty simple in theory, but it's so powerful when you put it into practice. You're just releasing multiple versions of the same core song over a period of time. Every new version acts like a fresh flare sent up to the platform, basically screaming, hey, this track is still hot. This keeps your original song active in the algorithm and totally in the game. And look, this isn't about writing 5 brand new songs. No way. It's about taking the one you already perfected and just reimagining it. Think about a stripped-down, super intimate acoustic version, or maybe a high-energy dance remix that takes it to a totally different audience. You could do an instrumental for producers and filmmakers, or even bring in another artist for a collaboration. Every single one of these counts as a brand new release. So why is this so crazy effective? Well, it all comes down to understanding what those streaming platform algorithms are actually designed to reward. Let's break down how this whole thing keeps the fire burning. Each new version can get you right back on those release radar playlists. That in turn sends curious new listeners back to check out the original song. Suddenly, you're eligible for playlist consideration all over again. And you get fresh opportunities to market the same song, which stretches its discovery window for months, not weeks. It all boils down to this. Algorithms reward consistency and engagement. When you release new versions of a song people are already familiar with, you're literally giving the algorithm exactly what it's built to promote. It's a win-win. And it's not just about the robot algorithms, it's about the human curators too. A standard release gives you one shot at those big editorial playlists. But with the Waterfall Method, that acoustic version might be perfect for a chill coffeehouse playlist. A month later, a remix of that same song could land on a massive workout playlist. You're not just getting another chance with editors, you're reaching entirely new subgenres. The financial side of this is a game changer too. Just look at this chart. That standard release on the left, it's like a firework. One bright, awesome flash, and then it's gone. But the waterfall release on the right, that's a long, steady stream of revenue. You're creating an asset that keeps earning for you month after month. Okay, so you get the why. Now let's get into the how. Let's build your own waterfall blueprint. Here is a super simple, really effective timeline. You start with your original single at week 0. About a month later, boom, you drop the acoustic version. A month after that, a remix. Then maybe a live version or an instrumental. And just like that, one song is powering your entire quarter, triggering the algorithm 4 separate times. Here are the 4 key steps for your strategy. First, always lead with your strongest version, the original. Second, space your follow-up releases about 4 to 6 weeks apart. You got to give each one some room to breathe. Third, and this is crucial, pitch every single version to playlist editors. And fourth, create fresh artwork and new marketing for each drop so it really feels like a new release. But like any good strategy, there are definitely some pitfalls you want to avoid. So what are the common mistakes that can completely derail a waterfall release? Okay, here are the 3 big ones. First, don't release new versions too quickly. You'll just cut your own momentum short. Second, don't just flood the zone and overwhelm your listeners with a million different options. And most importantly, never, ever compromise on quality. A half-baked remix can do way more harm than good. So the big question is this strategy actually right for you? Let's get to the final takeaway. This strategy is an absolute game changer, especially for independent artists who need to make every single release count. If your main goal is to grow on streaming platforms and you're working with a limited budget, this method is basically tailor-made to get the most mileage out of your hard work. Ultimately, this is more than just a release tactic. It's a total mindset shift. You stop treating your song like a disposable one-week event, and you start seeing it as a long-term asset. One that can keep growing, finding new fans, and earning you money for months or even years to come. So, I'll just leave you with this question. Look back at your music, or think about that song you're working on right now. Which one has that special spark? Which one deserves more than just a single week in the spotlight? Which of your songs are you going to give a second life?